All right, fifth grade. Happy Monday. Hope that everybody had a really safe and fun long weekend. So what we're going to do is we are going to move on. We're going to actually start our second big essay for the year. Okay. We have 3 big essays that we will do. We've already done one. We did our Holes Compare and Contrast essay. That was the first one. Second one will be this one here that's called a narrative essay. Okay. The third one that we'll probably do together probably in early May or so. So we have quite a ways before we do that last one. But today we're going to actually start that second essay. So today we're not going to do too much talking about what we're going to be writing and all those things. We will get into that. We'll probably be doing this pretty much up until winter break. But today what I wanted to do was just spend a little bit of time to understand what is a narrative essay. What is narrative writing? Okay, so everything that I type in today, I want you to type in as well. Slide number 1, here we go. So, first thing that we should ask ourselves is what is narrative writing? What is a narrative? Okay, it's kind of a goofy word that you may never have heard before. Narrative. What is a narrative? So narrative writing is actually all it is. It's when an author tells, my goodness, Mr. Lund cannot type, tells you a personal story. Okay, so narrative writing is when an author just tells you a story that has happened to them in their life. Okay, so if I were writing a narrative, I might tell you about the time that I won the state basketball championship when I was in high school, right? I might tell you about the time that I went to California for the first time, right? I might tell you about the time that I, so on and so forth, okay? So it's going to be a story that you are going to tell us about, something that happened to you, okay? I know probably right after I said that, a lot of ideas went into your head about things that you could write about, things that have happened to you, stories that you have, and that's great. We'll think about that kind of later here at the end of the week, right? Okay, narrative writing uses, this is very important here, descriptions to make us feel like we are in the story. Okay, so the author really likes to use different kinds of senses, right? Different kinds of descriptions, like telling you what things sounded like, what things tasted like, what things smelled like. And the reason they do that is because they want you to feel like you are in the story, right? They want you to feel like you are the main character in their story. Okay. If you don't really feel like you're inside the story, then it's not going to be a very good narrative. Right? And then last, a good narrative always includes a lesson to learn. All right, so this author has gone through this thing in their life. They should tell us what they learned from this event or from this story. Okay, like I could tell you about the time that Mr. Lund got into a car accident when I was a freshman in high school. And it was really scary. And it was okay. It ended up being all right. No one was hurt. But I learned that it was important for me to always pay attention to the road and to never get distracted. Right? So even in that story that was a little scary, there was something that I learned. There was a lesson there. Okay? So good narrative always has a lesson. Okay. So next slide here. Why do people write narratives? Okay. So 3 reasons why someone would write a narrative. First one, to tell a new story to someone. Okay, so maybe I just met somebody new. Maybe I'm trying to, see if they'd make a good friend, and I want to tell them a story. That's why I might write a narrative, right? I might tell them through text or email about something that was crazy that happened to me when I was young or something like that. Right? So to tell a new story to someone. Okay. Another reason somebody might write a narrative. Okay. To remind someone of a memory. So maybe you're somebody who, like, this really crazy thing happened to you and your brother, right? And you're like, oh yeah, remember, brother, that one time that thing happened? And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. You might want to write a narrative, a story that happened to you, so you can remind your brother about that crazy thing that happened. Right? That'd be another reason why you write a narrative. And the last reason, to teach someone a lesson. Right? Maybe somebody is, feeling like they really need to just, they're really confused, they're stuck, they don't know what to do. Should I, when I go to school, should I take Hmong class or should I take Spanish class? Well, maybe you have a personal narrative, a personal story about Hmong class, how it's so cool and awesome, and Miss Kriya is so nice, and you guys do awesome art projects and things. So you might tell this person a story about Hmong class to teach them a lesson and see if you can help them out. Okay. All right. So last slide for today to do some notes. Who will we be writing to? So when you're thinking about the people that are reading your essay, that are reading your narrative, okay, it could be one out of two people. All right. It could be someone who knows your story and needs you to refresh their memory, or could be someone who is of your story for the first time. Okay, so the audience could be either one of these people. It could be someone who knows your story and needs you to refresh their memory, or it could be someone who is learning of your story for the first time. Okay, now when you're writing your, when we're starting to write and we start writing some rough drafts and things like that, I'm going to keep on reminding you to think about who your audience is. Okay, so it's up to you. Are you going to remind somebody of this story, or are you going to be just talking to me, Mr. Lund, or one of your classmates, somebody who is learning of this story for the first time? All right, so we'll make that decision, and we'll kind of go from there. But I will remind you to think about who your audience is, because that's very important. Okay. All right. So tomorrow, what we will do is we will read 2 final copies of a narrative from 3 years ago from some of my students from a while ago. Very well written narrative essays. We'll look at them. We'll talk about them, and we'll go from there. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know.